What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Schnick Talk Sports. It's been a minute, all right? Different scenery. I'm back home in California. I came back from Denmark a couple months ago. I've been lazy. Sorry, got nothing else for you. But the first day of the NBA draft is over, and there's a ton of picks that I want to talk about, so I thought what better way to come back than with some big news. And that starts with A.J. Debonta going number 1 to the Washington Wizards. Now, are we surprised? No. I think this is going to be a good pick, obviously. I mean, I think if the Wizards end up not trading Anthony Davis, this is going to be a nasty team. Trae Young, A.J. Debonta, Anthony Davis, Alex Sarr. I mean, they're going to be pretty nasty, and I'm excited to see how they stack up in the Eastern Conference. And you could say the same thing about the number 2 pick, Darren Peterson, and the Utah Jazz. I mean, his fit next to Keontae George, with Lauri Markkanen, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Walker Kessler. I mean, that's scary. You got Ace Bailey coming off the bench. The West is stacked. I think the East is going to be stacked next year, too. It's going to be interesting to see how both of these teams stack up. Obviously, the Jazz started to make a push towards the end of the year, but I think they're going to be very good. How good? I don't really know because we haven't seen them, really go to work together. Obviously, we saw a little taste of Jaren Jackson Jr. last season after the deadline. Obviously, Walker Kessler was out for most of the year. Keontae George was hooping. I mean, he was one of the best guards in the NBA last year. Probably should have made an all-star team, but he didn't. But now we'll see if he can continue that production next year next to Darren Peterson. The only thing that worries me is their defense. I mean, their front court is nasty. Jaren Jackson Jr., Walker Kessler, nobody's coming to the paint, that's for sure. But when you are on the perimeter, I mean, Keontae George, Darren Peterson, not horrible defenders, but are they guys that are going to stop a Steph Curry, Jalen Brunson, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka Doncic? I don't know. So I guess we'll see how they stack up, but I'm excited to watch both those teams, and if I have to watch in the middle of the night, which I absolutely will, I will be doing that. Moving forward, Cam Boozer, I mean, not much to talk about here. Obviously, I love him, Duke guy. I think he's kind of screwed in Memphis the next couple of years. Not to say that he won't do well. I think he'll do super well. But, I mean, they're not going to win anything. It doesn't matter how good he is. They are not going to win anything, especially assuming they're probably going to trade John Morant. I mean, I'm surprised that it's taken this long. I saw something, I think, yesterday that said that teams who are interested in John Morant are looking to take a first-round pick or multiple with John Morant because of his lucrative contract. I mean, I get it, We are talking about a former All-Star. You call him superstar, like he's kind of there. Tons of off-the-court issues that you would like to hope get better. Obviously, he had a bunch of injuries too. But, I mean, we're still talking about Ja, you know what I mean? Like, I think, a lot of people have been talking about him potentially being traded to the Heat. It's just not happening. I don't know how you look at a team with Bam Adebayo and Giannis and say, oh, yeah, we can add another max contract to that with a team that has no shooting. I mean, it's just a brain-dead idea to me. But moving forward, I'm excited to see Cam. I think he honestly has a very good shot at getting Rookie of the Year because of how much the team will rely on him, similar to how the Mavs relied on Cooper Flagg this year. So we'll see. I'm excited to watch him, even if the team sucks. Not going to talk about every pick here. Just, top 3 were obviously important. Caleb Wilson, personally, I think he's overrated. He's a intangibles guy, great defender. He's got good height, good wingspan, all those types of things, but not a great shooter, not a great offensive player. He doesn't seem like, a superstar, especially in a draft this deep where you're looking at guys that, could be carrying franchises for years, like a Darius Acuff, for example, who went number 7. I don't love this pick for the Bulls, even though, it's been determined that he was going to go number 4 for months now at this point. But I guess we'll see how that goes. As far as the next 2 picks go, I mean, Keaton Wagler, was projected to go to the Clippers, and he did. Very good player. He had like a 46-point game in Illinois or something as a freshman, which is ridiculous. I think that was the right pick because they have Darius Garland. They just traded for him and Benedict Mathurin, so you'd like to assume that that is their quote-unquote future. So, drafting a guy like Darius Acuff wouldn't have made sense to have next to Darius Garland. I think Keaton Wagler is a better off-the-ball player. And, of course, he's bigger. He'll be able to hold his own more defensively. So I like that pick for LA. They're going to need it, obviously. We don't know what's going to happen with Kawhi, but I guess we'll see. Moving forward, Mikael Brown Jr. was the first surprise to me. I thought for sure they were going to go either Darius Acuff or Kingston Flemings. Mikael Brown is phenomenal. He kind of carried that Louisville team this year, but personally I just like Darius Acuff a lot. And, for a team that doesn't have a lot, is that, mean to say? I don't know. I mean, they got Michael Porter Jr., who they're probably going to trade. They have Julius Randle, who they might trade. I mean, what do they have, Igor Demon's like their guy. I don't know. They just traded Nick Claxton to the Bulls in that Julius Randle trade, so just a lot going on over there, but also not a lot going on. I guess we'll see how Mikael Brown Jr. is. I don't know. Darius Acuff, great pick for Sacramento. I mean, they're going to need a guy to carry the offensive load. Who knows if they'll trade Sabonis? I saw something that they're planning on waiving DeMar DeRozan if he doesn't find a trade partner. They still got Zach LaVine, but they need to blow it up. Personally, I don't think you need to trade Domantas Sabonis. I think you can get rid of DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine and kind of restart from there. Obviously, Russell Westbrook, maybe. I don't know what the plan is for him, but I think it'd still be cool to have him mentoring Darius Acuff, but is he going to want to come off the bench? Probably not, and you need to give the keys to Darius Acuff right away. I am interested, though, because the Kings are a horrible defensive team, and Darius Acuff is not improving that at all. I mean, that's his one flaw, and it's a big one. He is not a good defender, one of the worst defenders in the draft, but his offense makes up for it. So we'll see how he does in Sacramento. I'm excited to see him play. I mean, this whole draft is so deep. It's going to be so fun to watch these rookies go. Moving forward, Kingston Flemings, I think that's a good pick for the Hawks. They obviously needed another guard to come off the bench and help C.J. McCollum and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. But, I mean, they got a great thing going. I think they were, targeting a big man, which they got Zuby Ejiofor later in the draft. So I like the pick. It would have been a little precarious to take a big at the 8th pick, so I think they did a good job there. Morris Johnson Jr., number 9, with his former head coach Dusty May in Dallas. I like the pick, but it also confuses me a little bit because, the analysts are talking about, oh yeah, they need a forward. They've needed a forward for a long time. I mean, they just had Cooper Flagg, P.J. Washington, Daniel Gafford, and Derek Lively. No, they need guards. So Morris Johnson Jr. was probably the best player on the board, so I'm not saying this is a bad pick, but I don't know how you look at that and you're thrilled about it. Maybe if Kingston Flemings was still there, they take him instead. Maybe not because it was Dusty May as their new head coach. Who knows? But I think he's going to be a great pick. I don't want to take anything away from him, but fit-wise, it's interesting, to say the least. Braden Burries for Milwaukee. I don't got much to say about it. They need all the help they can get after getting rid of Giannis. And is this a guy that's going to come in and, be handed the keys to the franchise? I don't think so. But again, at the 10th pick, you're probably not going to get a guy like that anyway. But we'll see. You never know. He was on one of the best teams in the country in Arizona this year. So he's a winning player on a team that's not going to win anything this year. So maybe he'll have a good impact right away. Time will tell. I like the Yaxel Lendenborg pick to Golden State. I think he will fit well next to Steph. I think he'll be the perfect kind of transition for the future after Draymond eventually retires. He's obviously, undersized. He's one of those guys like Cam Boozer that's, a small 4 or a big 3, doesn't have the athleticism for a 3, doesn't have the size for a 4, but, Golden State's had that for 15 years in Draymond Green, so if there's any team that can find success in that type of player, I think it is the Warriors. He, provides a ton of offense that really the Warriors need outside of Steph. Whenever he doesn't have the ball, it seemed like they got really stagnant this year, especially after Jimmy went down. Obviously, they got Kristaps Porzingis. They got, Al Horford. So they got a lot going on, and I think Yaxel has a ton of opportunity to learn from these guys, and I like the pick. That's all I got. Um, then we get into the big ones. Ademara, I don't know if that's how you say his name, but to the Thunder, that sucks. I hate that. I hate that. They just got a Wemby stopper, to say the least. Is he going to come in and, literally stop Wemby in his rookie year? No. But they got a 7'3" guy with, I think they said his standing reach is 9'9". To have that on the Thunder next to Chet Holmgren, I mean, this pick just shows to me that they're going to let go of Isaiah Hartenstein, which is not super surprising because of how expensive his, I believe he's on a team option is. Great pick. I think he's interesting. When I watched him in college, it felt like he wasn't that good in the tournament, but, he made a ton of impactful plays. Obviously a good rebounder, good shot blocker, underrated passer. That's a good quality of his, but offensively, I mean, I see nothing. And is that a problem on OKC? No, not at all. If they keep Shea, J-Dub, and Chet, assuming Chet does better than his pitiful playoff performance, this is going to be a solid pick for them. And again, I hate it a lot. Moving forward, Nate Ament to Milwaukee because, the Heat pick was traded in the Giannis deal. Same thing as, Braden Burries. Don't know how big of an impact he's going to have right away. Great player. He was very good at Tennessee. Fun to watch, but, that's going to be kind of a time will tell thing with that whole franchise with both of those guys. So not going to be super excited to watch them, but, we'll see how the young guys rock out. Hans Steinbach to Charlotte. That's a big one. I was, doing my research on Hans because he was, somewhat projected to fall to the Raptors at 19. And if you don't know, I write for the Raptors over at Roundtable Sports. Please go check it out. But this is a great, great young player. German national team guy, under 19 team, not the senior national team, but got pro experience. He played really well in Washington. I believe he was the leader in rebounds per game in all of college basketball. I mean, he's a stud. He's going to be really good. And, the Hornets found a ton of success with, I'm blanking on his name, with their center. Sorry, that's an L that I'm forgetting his name, but they found a ton of success with a small ball five next to, LaMelo, Brandon Miller, and Con Knippel along with Miles Bridges. So I think maybe he comes off the bench to start. They did draft, I'm blanking on his name too. Their backup center from Creighton that I really wanted to go to the Lakers. They got him coming off the bench, and he had a decent year. He kind of found his way, not out of the rotation, but less minutes behind their starter. All right, this is embarrassing. We need to look at the Hornets roster. Okay, here we go. Musa Diabate is their starter, and Ryan Kalkbrenner is their backup. My apologies. That is terrible. But, I like both of them for the Hornets. I thought it was interesting that they were starting Musa over Ryan because I think Ryan was really, really good in college. Of course, it ended up working out. So getting a third center here in Hans Steinbach, I don't know if that means that they don't believe in Ryan Kalkbrenner. I don't know if that means they just want to expand the front court rotation. Either way, I like it. Maybe he becomes a starter by the end of the year. Maybe he doesn't, but I definitely see him as a contributor for this team that is trying to make the playoffs for sure. Moving forward, we're going to skip to Bennett Sturts for the Grizzlies, but was traded to the Thunder. Again, I mean, just a great pick by the Thunder. He was another guy that, I was scouting for the Raptors, very high IQ guy, doesn't overwhelm really in any aspect of the game, but just a very consistent player, 4-year college guy. And I think he's going to come in and make an impact right away off of OKC's bench. They got a lot of questions as far as contracts go. Are they going to trade Cason Wallace? Are they going to let Lou Dort go or trade him? Obviously, they just traded away Aaron Wiggins to the Hawks. So, there's spots available for them. And, is he going to come in and, play right away next to Jared McCain? I don't know, but either way, he's going to learn a lot from Shea and just that team in general. So I think that's a great spot for him, and he's going to have, a good start to his career for sure. Moving on to Abuko Corey, that was traded to Memphis. They swapped. Again, I like the pick a lot. I think this is a guy that can come in and fill Ja's spot right away. Is he going to be Ja? No, not at all. He's a very, very different player. Great scorer like Ja, but obviously nobody really has the athleticism that Ja does. So I like the pick if they trade Ja. Even if they don't trade Ja, I mean, he's going to come in and be, an elite point guard off the bench. So I really like that pick. Moving forward to the Raptors. Oh, boy. Again, I write for the Raptors. Am I a Raptors fan? No, but I've been writing for them for, 6 months, 7 months. I didn't say it. But that means that I obviously have a little bit of an attachment to them. What an awful pick. I mean, I watched the whole first round, and this pick, I yelled at my phone when I was watching it, and I'm not even a fan of the Raptors. Bobby, what are we doing, man? I mean, this is just an awful, awful pick, in my opinion. No disrespect to Alan Graves, but the guys that they were talking about for the Raptors, that everybody's been talking about, Bennett Sturts went 16 to OKC. Abuko Corey went 17 to Memphis. Okay, but then you got the third point guard, LeBaron Philon Jr., who fell to 22 to Philadelphia. So he's going to come off the bench behind Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. I'll get to him in a second. He was the no-brainer pick. Okay, the Raptors needed a point guard or a center. I mean, it's obvious. You got RJ Barrett, you got Brandon Ingram, you got Scotty Barnes, you get Colin Murray-Boyles. Okay, that's 4 solid, forward/guard rotational players that are going to play a ton of minutes. Why on earth would you draft another forward to back all of them up? When you have, like I said, LeBaron Philon Jr. is on the board. Jaden Quaintance, who went the very next pick to San Antonio. I hate it. I'll talk about that in a second. I hate it. He would have been an excellent pick for the Raptors. Where's he at? Chris Sinak Jr., an excellent pick for the Raptors. I mean, we're talking about a very good point guard and 2 very good centers that would have been an excellent pick that could start right away for the Raptors if they end up trading Emmanuel Quickley or Jakob Poeltl. No. They take a forward who was the 6th man of the year at Santa Clara. We're talking about not a Power 5 school and not a starter at a Power 5 school. Really? The 19th pick, when you could have had 3 guys that could potentially be stars in their role right away. But no, they want to take Alan Graves because this obviously means that they're letting go of Sandru Mamukelashvili, and they wanted to fill his spot. So now we're going to get into it. Bobby Webster has made 4 moves as the head of basketball operations, and it goes like this. I don't know the order, but this is how it goes. He extended Jakob Poeltl to the worst contract in basketball. I mean, it was Timofey Mozgov-esque with the Lakers. I mean, just an awful, awful extension, right? Was it bad in the moment? Yes, but it wasn't awful. Then you see this year how he, has a back injury that, takes him out for 24 straight games. He's, limited for the rest of the season, and he's in his 30s. I mean, he's is he going to come back and have a breakout year? Boy, I hope so. For his sake, I hope so. But we're talking about a guy that is now with the Raptors through 2030. 2030. And, yeah, so that was strike 1, right? Then you bounce back, you draft Colin Murray-Boyles. You got a little bit of slack for it, when you drafted him at number 9 last year, right? But he was a baller this year. Simply put, completely exceeded expectations on all fronts. I mean, everybody knew he was going to be a good defender, but he was an incredible defender. I mean, one of the best defensive rookies I've seen in a long time. And, he proved that he is going to fit next to Scotty Barnes forever. I mean, he was excellent. He developed an offensive game late in the year. I only expect that to get better. If he can get a consistent mid-range jumper, I mean, we're talking about a maybe potential all-star. Like, this guy is legit. Okay? So you're 1-1 here. Okay? Sign Sandro Mamukelashvili in free agency. That's another plus. Okay? Got him on a cheap deal, a 2-year option with a player option, 2-year deal with a player option. And, he was great for the Raptors this year. I mean, he was basically their only bench scorer, which is important. But now you're going to let go of him. I don't know if it's a team option or a player option. I think it's a team option, actually. But now you're going to let go of him because you just drafted Alan Graves. If you don't let go of him, oh, man, it's getting worse. But, he was a great pickup. He did very well for the Raptors this year. And, he deserves more money than the Raptors are going to be able to give him. So I assume he's going to leave. And obviously they assume he's going to leave because they just drafted Alan Graves. Now, is Alan Graves a good player? Yes, right? Like, this is an analytical pick for sure. Him, Yaxel Lendenborg, Cameron Boozer, really, really good players that are all undersized fours and don't really fit into the mold of the NBA, four. But, if they're good, they're good. The eye test, passes for all three of them. And, even though he came off the bench in the WCC, he has, a ton of upside. This is a guy that has great defensive instincts. He's going to get better as an offensive player. And he's going to fit well into this Raptors team. The reason that I hate the pick so much is because we're talking about a guy that may never, ever start for the Raptors. I mean, he's not starting over Scotty Barnes. He's not starting over Colin Murray-Boyles. So unless you're going to start Colin Murray-Boyles at the center, which I don't like, even though he did it this year and he did great, I don't like it because he's 6'7". You need a bigger center, right? If you're going to start Scotty Barnes, Alan Graves, and Colin Murray-Boyles together down the line, I hate it. You have Brandon Ingram in there too. And RJ Barrett, is that your 5? Like, no, it's just not. You got to factor in Jacoby Walter too. You need his shooting. You need a playmaker. So they got things to figure out, and Alan Graves just made it a much more complicated situation. So, yeah, I talked the most about the Raptors there, but man, what a dumb pick. That just bothered me so bad. Okay, then we get to 20, Jaden Quainton, my sweetheart, darling of the draft. This guy is legit. He missed pretty much all year with Kentucky. I don't remember exactly the injury. Might have been a meniscus tear, but he missed pretty much all year. But he is legit. I mean, we're talking about a guy with great athleticism. He's an elite shot blocker, a great rebounder. I think he's like 6'10", 6'11", 255 or something like that with a, 7'5" wingspan. Like, what are we talking about? How could you not want this guy? I wanted him to drop to the Lakers. I mean, somehow, some way. Obviously, he didn't. But, man, now he's next to Wemby. Are we serious, bro? This team just went to the finals in their first year making the playoffs in 7 years. They made the finals. So now you have Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper, Wemby, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Julian Champagnie, and Jaden Quainton. Forever. If any of them take some sort of pay cut, which I think I just saw that Wemby's going to get, a max or super max, whatever it is. If any of them are willing to take a pay cut, they could win the championship for 10 years in a row. Like, what are we talking about? I mean, this team is going to be insane. I think that pick will be the most underrated pick in the draft. I mean, this guy's legit, and he is going to be unbelievable. Not to mention, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. They also traded for the 26th pick and the rights to Terrence Reed Jr. Another guy that is very similar, went to UConn, a winner, and he's the same thing, 6'11", 260. I mean, they're beefing up the front court next to Wemby. They are just not messing around, and they're going to be good forever. And I don't hate the Spurs. I actually was very much rooting for them. But, I mean, holy, I want the parity in the NBA to maintain. And it doesn't look like that's going to maintain. They're going to be scary for years. Good for them. Clap it up, Moving forward, Kareem Lopez to Memphis. It was to Detroit, but traded to Memphis. Underrated player, Mexican He's the first Mexican-born player to be drafted in the first round. He's going to make an impact right away at Memphis or in Memphis. I don't know if he plays the 3. He's 6'9", 225, but I think he will pair well next to Cam Boozer. Not much there. I like him a lot, and he was ranked very high. He was projected to maybe go in the lottery, so the fact that he dropped this low, they got to be stoked to have him. Then we get to LeBaron Philon. I mean, listen, this guy's great. I mean, he is a very, very good scorer. Pretty much unlimited, scoring ability in the half court, which is exactly what the Raptors needed. Now he goes to Philly to, be on the bench behind Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe. I mean, he's going to be very good. He's going to be very good. Kind of sucks for him, to be honest, that he is going to be on the bench because this is a guy that can make an impact right away. But, best player available at that point, the Sixers would have been dumb not to take him. And I like the pick, simply put. Zubi Ejiofor to Atlanta from Cleveland. Again, I like it. St. John's guy. Again, another winner. He was very, very physical this year for St. John's. He was kind of their enforcer. Really good rebounder, really good defender. But is he going to make a huge impact right away for Atlanta? I don't know because, I don't think that he's going to start over who did I say they just got? Or was he who I was talking about? Yeah, he was who I was talking about. I don't think he starts over Onyeka Okongwu right away, but the potential's there. Again, he's 6'9". You'd like to have a bigger center, but Onyeka's right there with him. He might not even be that tall. But, I would like to have a big next to Jalen Johnson. He's big, but is he that big? I don't know. I'm not sure what his wingspan is. Let's find out. That's not how you spell his name. Here we go. Wingspan of 7'2". Okay, there you go. 6'7.5" barefoot. So, but he's 245. Standing reach of 8'11" with that 7'2" wingspan. So, good pick. Again, probably. I mean, I don't want to say he's the best big on the board because I really like Chris Sinak Jr. But I think he will fit in really well there, and we'll see. How he does. I think his physicality will be good enough to get past the height limit, I guess, as a 5. We're talking about the guys that have to defend Wemby, Cat. Cat's not that tall, but these Jokic, these dominant centers. You're going to need physicality, but you're also going to need height. He's got 1.5, so I guess we'll see how that goes. Then we get to the Lakers. Cameron Carr. I'm torn, to be honest. I screamed when we picked him, and not a joyous scream. I wanted Chris Sinak. The team needs a center. That's obvious. I mean, at this point, when we drafted him, I was like, oh no, we're losing Austin Reeves. Because why would you draft another guard to be behind Luka, behind Austin Reeves, behind LeBron, assuming he stays, behind Marcus Smart if he stays, behind Luke Kennard if he stays? Like, we have so many guards. We have no centers. I mean, DeAndre Ayton was not very good this year. Some very good moments, but not enough very good moments. Jackson Hayes is a great backup center, shouldn't be our starter. Then you get Chris Sinak Jr. Could start right away. Maybe he's on the bench behind Jackson Hayes, but, he has time to develop. No, we want to take a guard. Now, Cameron Carr is nice, We're talking about a guy that, is like 6'4", 6'5", 7-foot wingspan. That's big. That's very big. Not to mention, good shooting stroke, 38.5-inch vertical, or 38-inch vertical standing. Then you get to a 42.5-inch max vertical. Wow. You know what I mean? As a pro volleyball player, my max vertical is, around 38. So the fact that this guy could do his standing really just hurts me, So is that a guy that you'd love to have on your team? Of course. You know what I mean? He was ranked as the 21st best player. He went 24. Here's my issue, right? Again, I just said we have a bunch of guards. You know who else is a great shooter, very athletic? Dalton Knecht. You know how much Dalton Knecht played this year? Not a lot. You know who's going to get shopped in free agency in the trading block this year? Dalton Knecht. So why are we drafting his replacement? I don't get it. I don't get it. Is there more upside to Cameron Carr? Probably, for sure. I still am a huge believer in Dalton Knecht. I think it's terrible that he has played so little. Obviously, he is not the defender that they need him to be. JJ wants him to be. But the fact that he's getting no run is abysmal. So we better hope that this guy's a good defender. You know, he's got the wingspan to do so. But if he's not, he's going to be in the same position, and that will be a wasted pick. So all this tells me is that they are serious. Rob Pelinka is serious about trading for an A-list center like they talked about. Because if they don't, we might lose Luka. I don't think we're going to lose Luka. I think, you know, all these analysts are starting to bother me a lot because they're like, oh, yeah, you know, they're not making a serious contender around him quick enough. Like, bro, he just finished his first year. His first full year. We went to the second round against the reigning champions without him, without Austin Reeves, basically. What did you expect? Obviously, they were going to beat us. If we had Luka, they might have beaten us. But if we had Luka, we'd give them a run for their money. You know what I mean? And now we're talking about, oh, Luka's going to leave. Bro, you think he wants to leave again? He just got here. Like, he's not leaving, bro. But that don't mean that Rob doesn't have work to do this offseason. You know, everything I've been seeing is, oh, they've been promising Luka. The summer of 26 is going to be our summer. We'll see. Are they going to somehow pull off a trade for Jalen Duren? I don't know. I don't know how that works. I don't see it. We will see. I'm excited to see what the plan is. Obviously, when we drafted Cameron Carr, I thought that meant that we were losing Austin for sure. Because I'm like, no way we draft, you know, a guy behind both of them. No, then they literally signed him to a max like right after. So happy with that. Not saying that I'm not happy with that. I'm stoked that we're keeping Austin. I think this is a wasted pick. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he ends up being superb for years to come because we need it. But it bothered me a lot. Then we get, you know, to the last guy I'm going to talk about, and that's Chris Sinac Jr. At 27, you know, he could have gone to the Raptors at 19. No, he fell to 27 to the Celtics. I mean, what are we doing? All these guys that I was so fond of, they go to the teams that are known to be fantastic at drafting. The Thunder, the Spurs, the Celtics. Shocker. I mean, what are we doing, man? This guy is going to start for them, maybe right away. I mean, he is not an incredible offensive player, but he's a great rebounder. He's a great shot blocker. He provides that interior presence that they will need, you know, that they lacked this year. He's 6'11", 240. I don't know what's going on with Jaylen Brown. I still don't get why they're trying to trade him. Like, they didn't just win the championship a couple years ago. But whatever happens, he's legit, and I'm not excited to see him be super good with the team that I hate. So, yeah, that's all I got. You know, we've been here long enough. Let me know what you think about the first round. Let me know who you're excited to see, and let me know who you think the biggest riser will be as far as the most underrated guy. Let me know who you think the biggest bust will be. I hope it's not Cameron Carr. That's all I got to say. But thank you so much for watching. I'm going to try to keep uploading videos as best I can. But that's all I got. We'll see you in the next one.